Hi all, welcome to Understanding and Using Excel, and we'll look at today how formulas are written right from absolute ground zero. So this particular demonstration will be most useful for those of you who maybe have never written a formula in Excel before. So some people say that the formulas, and I would certainly agree with them, are what unleash the power of Excel, and we'll see how that can work for us. So a bit of background information first. The demonstration will show you how to start writing formulas. It will also show you what we call the syntax or the grammar behind formulas, and how formulas are constructed and the rules that you must follow. A couple of tips: remember, you can always pause the demonstration to read the screen contents or replay the screen, demonstration should you wish. The demonstration is best viewed in full screen mode at high resolution. Remember, you can subscribe so you'll always be notified automatically of many more Excel hints, tips and procedures that we'll offer to you. On with the demonstration. We'll look at the basics of how formulas work in Excel, and we'll also see how brackets, otherwise called parentheses, affect the way a formula calculates. The golden rule of all formulas is that they all must start with an equal sign. The equal sign says to Excel there is a formula following. Then we use the cell reference for the cells involved in the formula. The cells, of course, will contain data. Then in the more simple formulas we'll use the plus, minus, multiply and divide signs. These are shown down here in row 8, plus, minus, multiply, which is an asterisk, divide, which is the forward slash. Let's see how they work. Over here we have some data in these cells. Here I'm going to type, to add some numbers, I'll type an equal sign by clicking in that cell and typing equals. Now I could type the cell reference. Let's say I wanted to add B12 and C12 together. I could type that if I wanted by typing B12 plus C12, but that's a bit of a long way around it, because what I can also do, and I'll just get rid of those cell references, I can actually click in the cell. That puts the cell reference into the cell here for the formula, add a plus sign, and then I'll click on cell C12 and press enter. The answer is 12, and if I click back on that cell and look up here in the formula bar, I see my formula is equal B12 plus C12, the one we entered. Just a little trick here. When I'm in this cell, in the active cell that has a formula in it, I can point my mouse at the bottom right hand corner where I see a little button. It's like a little square, a bit hard to see at times, but it's there. And if I point my mouse at that particular little button called the autofill button, I can hold the mouse cursor changes to a crosshair, and I can hold down my left mouse button and just drag down to fill that particular group of cells with the formula, because I started off with B12 plus C12, but if I keep looking up in the formula bar as I click on cells further down, I see that Excel takes care of the row references as I move down through them. So that cell, for example, is B17 plus C17. 4 plus 4 equals 8. Subtracting works in a very similar way. So I will type an equal sign here because I want a formula which will subtract what is in C12 minus what's in D12. Previously I pressed enter, which moved me down a cell and put the answer, but if I hold down the control key and press enter, I see the answer, but I remain in the cell in which I was working. So the answer is 4. 10 minus 6 equals 4. Now previously you'll remember that we dragged down through those cells and it auto-filled for me and showed me the answer. I'm just going to undo that action because I want to show you another way. If there is data in the cell to the left, in the cells to the left, I can point at the little autofill button and double click, and that automatically fills down. It saves me dragging down. Now we'll look at multiplying. Equals, and I want to multiply D12 by, and that's the asterisk, E12. Control enter. The answer is 12. 6 times 2. Here's my little button again. Data in the column to the left. I'll double click. Now dividing. There's something I have to be a little bit careful of here, because I notice in the cell E18 there is a 0. So let's see how that is handled when we come down to this cell. So this time I want to type an equal sign, and I want to divide what is in D12 divide by E12. Control enter. The answer is 3. I'll auto-fill that down. Double click. Problem down here. I cannot divide by 0. It is a mathematical impossibility. Therefore, if you ever try to divide a number by 0, you'll see that error message will pop up. So, just to recap again, equal sign, absolute necessity, followed by the cell reference, which can either be typed, but better to click in the cell to give me the cell reference in that cell itself, and then I can auto-fill down by holding down my left mouse button and just drag down using that little crosshair there, or if there is data in the column to the left, then I can double click on the little crosshair. So there's a handy little tip for you. Now let's see how brackets or parentheses affect the way that numbers are handled by Excel. If I type a formula in here, equals B12 plus C12 multiplied by D12 and control enter, I get the answer 62. So let's remember that particular answer, 62. I'm going to undo that last action, and this time I'm going to type a formula in that cell, equals, and then in a bracket B12 plus C12 and close the bracket and multiply by D12. The answer this time is 72, because when I look at the formula up here in the formula bar, I see that Excel has added B12 and C12 together and then multiplied by D12. And on another sheet shortly I'll show you why it does that. Okay, subtracting one number from another and then dividing. If I say equals and then C12 will say minus D12 divide by E12 and press control enter, I see the answer is 7. Well, that's fine, but it may not have been the answer I wanted, so I'm going to undo that last action, and this time I'm going to say equals C12, but before I click I type a bracket, C12 minus D12, close the bracket and divide by that number. This time I get the answer 2. So I've seen how the brackets affect the way that numbers are handled by Excel. Now in this cell We'll take it just a step further. I want to multiply two numbers and divide by the sum of two other numbers. So we're using three operators here. I'm going to say equals that number multiplied by that number divide by that number plus that number. So let's have a look at what our answer is. 5.333 recurring. So let's remember that number, and I'm going to go back and undo the last action using the famous undo button up there. Greatest button ever invented by mankind, by the way, folks. I always say if the dinosaurs hadn't known about the undo button, they'd still be on Earth. Let's try using brackets now. Remember, our answer was 5.333 recurring. This time equals that number multiplied by that number, and I'll put brackets around those just to keep them together. And I want to divide by the sum of these other two numbers. So divide by, and then open a bracket, that cell plus that cell. Let's see what our answer is now. 2.5. So again, the use of brackets have changed the way that formulas are handled in Excel. And as you move up the Excel ladder, as it were, you'll find that you'll be using brackets quite regularly. So that's given you a kickstart on how formulas can be constructed using the cell references, and certainly the equal sign and the plus, minus, multiply and divide signs in Excel. Keep a watch out for more lessons along the same lines. They'll be coming up in the future, and remember, subscribe to the channel and you'll be automatically advised of when they're available. Thank you so much for watching.